Hey everyone, welcome to this week's edition of LCP National Education Cycle. Today we're going to be talking about culture and internal alignment. So first of all, what is culture and why is it important? Well, as I said in the last video, culture really combines the vision, values, norms, and behaviors of an organization, how these members of the organization interact with each other to achieve common goal and purpose of that organization. Why is it important? Well, a lot of you are having problems with member retention, people actually sticking around, right? And I think we'd all agree that culture is pretty crucial. In fact, culture can be one of the most important things for long-term sustainability of any organization, really. And so I'll give you a second to think about your culture in its current state. All right, like you're starting recruitment right now. Is the culture you currently have something that is inviting towards people, something people want to be a part of, something people want to dedicate their time to? If not, hopefully I can give you some tips to at least getting to that point where you can define the culture you want for your LC. So that's why culture is important. Also, a healthy, strong culture encourages the members to, stay motivated and actually dedicate time towards achieving the goals that they have, but also the goals and vision that you have for your LC. And strong, healthy culture can also ensure that the purpose of your members is aligned with the purpose of your LC and what you're trying to achieve together. And so what is internal alignment? So this is something I'm going to use to describe culture and other key things to make sure that everyone in your LC is on the same page, which will increase your chances of having a healthy culture and one that can actually, benefit your LC in terms of performance and health. And so what is internal alignment? Well, there are three main components. We have shared vision, strategy, clear strategies, and culture. So what I want to emphasize here, internal alignment, meaning that everyone in the organization, including the members, are on the same page. And so we're going to start with a shared vision. So what does it mean to have a shared vision? Well, it's something that everyone in the LC can get behind, is united behind. It's where your passions and goals are aligned, where you as an LC move and act as one. And so here's some questions for you. So to ask yourself in this current state, do you have a clear vision that everyone in the LC knows and actually cares about? Yes or no? Is every member aware of your goals as an LC and how you plan to get there? Yes or no? Is your EB aligned with their members and what their expectations are, or is there some kind of disconnect? Yes or no, and maybe even why? Is every member personally invested in reaching our LC goals? Yes or no? Finally, does every member know their why of being in your LC? Yes or no? So, if you answer a lot of no's, well, hopefully we can change that a little bit here. So I already described what it means to have a shared vision, something that is aligned to everybody's very, kind of stokes passion and fire within everybody, right, that everyone can get behind. And so how can you start to have a shared vision? Well, you should start with your EB, and here's some questions you can ask your EB to help start this process. And again, you can ask similar types of questions, not exactly these ones. These are just examples. So first of all, you can ask your EB in your replanning. If you already had it, it's okay. You can do it in an EBM or something as well. So start off like, what is your dream for your area? What is your dream for our LC? What kind of LC do we need to be for our community, for our campus, whatever? What defines success for us? And what is the one thing that will change the game for us? Again, these are some example questions you can ask. So do that to the EB, get everyone's answers, try to consolidate things as well. The next part of this is actually doing a very similar thing with your members. Like, the best way to make sure your members are on board with a vision is to involve them in the process. I did this when I was LCP, just literally ask them. Ask your members, either in person or over a survey or something, like, what is the vision you have for our LC by the end of this year? What is the kind of LC you'd like us to be by the end of this year? Literally ask them, get their input. And then once you have all that, you can consolidate it. Also ask them, like, what will be their role in actually making it happen. Okay, so that's an example of coming up with the shared vision. Example of this is actually use example from my LCP term, which was connecting Madison to the world and the world to Madison. Now, this was a vision we had in terms of making Madison more global, like city, exposing people to the city itself, and also exposing people, students of Madison University, to the world. And so basically it's another way of saying doing more outgoing exchange, doing more incoming exchange. And so the next part of this is the strategy. So having clear strategies that everyone can follow in order to make progress towards that vision that you have. And so you know strategies, you know, you're coming up with those in your replanning process, hopefully. So let's say, you know, increase, I don't know, member productivity through the sales development program, or really, you know, focusing on IR partners, right, in order to improve conversion rates. Those are some strategies, right? And so the idea is, though, that you want every single member to be able to know these strategies and be able to recite them clearly. So that's what it means to have strategic clarity. So after you come up with these as an EB, you'll start to think about how you can downscale these and you know, get member buy-in. And this can be done at LCMs, locos, etc. So that's a strategic piece, just making sure everyone's clear on those. Basically, everyone's clear on the output of your replanning. If you want to get their insights on some of the strategies, you can do that as well. And finally, we have culture, right? So we talked about culture, and so this is, you know, what norms and behaviors are needed in our LC to execute these strategies to achieve the shared vision that we have as an LC. Just literally ask yourselves, like, what kind of culture does my LC need right now? Simple. Again, have a discussion with your EB, and if you'd like to involve your members in this process too by asking them just like you did for the vision, you can do that as well, get their inputs. And so I'll give you some examples of types of cultures. One is an open and trusting culture. So this would mean that you have a very cohesive and comfortable environment. You know, people are collaborative, they work with each other quite a bit, and so a result of this might mean, you know, that friendships go beyond ISEC. So maybe your people are working, but they're not like talking to each other, and they don't like hanging out with each other. I don't know, right? So maybe the answer to your question, what kind of culture does LC need right now, is that we need to be together more. We need to, if we work together more, our results will increase by that much more. So that'd be open and trusting. Another example is internally competitive. Let's say, oh yeah, everyone's buddy-buddy and everyone's super friendly, but people aren't doing shit. So you could need an internally competitive culture. This is a culture that recognizes high performers and thus creates, you know, a leadership pipeline, but also gives low performers a need to improve. So, for example, implementing the STP, the Sales Development Program, can be a great way to reinforce an internally competitive culture. So these are just a couple examples. Really, it's just think about the current state of your LC, the vision you want to your LC to reach, to fulfill by the end of this year, the strategies you need to get there, and then the culture you need to have in order to make these things a reality. And that's the culture you can start to create. And like I said, downscaling all this to your LC and LCMs and locos is super important. Also, getting any feedback, things like this can be great as well. And then these are also great for touch points to actually start making this culture happen. But the most important thing is that you and your EB have internal alignment on this before going into LCMs, before going into loco, downscaling this to ensure that your LC can have internal alignment as a whole. And so all these things are extremely connected, extremely important for, you know, restarting another semester and getting back into the groove of things. So the action items coming out of this lesson, so hopefully you made it through the entire video. So the two action items from this week's education are, what is your shared vision for your LC? And two, describe the culture you want to create in your LC this semester. So those are two action items. In future videos, we'll be getting more into leading loco, LCMs as newbies, etc. Basically, how you can start to implement the culture and hopefully work towards achieving the vision you set as an LC later in this month. All right, thank you very much. I will see you all next time.